Welcome back, and if you remember, I was deciding something about how Rika looks. Oh yeah, deciding how Erika looks. Well, you know what? She does look lovely. Bowing to her pressure, I'll take another good look at Erika-san. Yes, she looks great in it. Right? She does, doesn't she? I told you, Erika, I'm not lying. Please stop before I die of embarrassment. Trust me, you do look lovely in it. She must be painfully aware of how Takasaki's exclamations are drawn from the gaze of her classmates. She scratches her head, her cheeks flustered. I know how you feel, Erika-san. Determined to take a step towards her wheelchair. Shirahane. Let's get to our seats. Homeroom's about to start. Hear a murmured thanks behind me as I block her from the stares of her classmates. Now is not the time to think of what you do not have. Think about what you can do with what there is. From Ernest Hemingway. A rabbit very good at dressmaking. I always think of this quote when I find myself in some situation. Now is no time to think of what you do not have. Think of what you can do with what there is. I recite the familiar phrase to myself. Surrounded on all sides by others, I think back to how I got here. After delivering a New Year's greeting expressing a delight to see us all again at the start of the new term, then delivering her usual sermon, Sister Basket had an announcement to make. Starting this term, we'll be offering a new class. Curious chatter filled the classroom and Rika raised her hand. About this new class, would it be an elective subject? Didn't say anything about it in the school brochure. Sister Basket's brow furrowed slightly as she responded. Probably because it's considered part of your moral education. We don't currently have a dedicated teacher for it. Just like our etiquette class? I won't say so exactly, but subjects I believe will be spiritually enriching for all of you. I think it will prove most beneficial for you in your daily lives. So subject to that fell under the umbrella of morality in the broadest sense of the words. Accordingly, my first thought was perhaps we would be learning the skills necessary for volunteer work, but now is no time to think of what you do not have. Think of what you can do with what there is. Suddenly the phrase I turn to whenever something unexpected happens flashes through my mind. Sister Basket was still smiling genially. Now then, let's make our way to a specimen room. Specimen room? Interesting. Oh. Butterflies, bugs, flowers, birds, a duck. Bug pinning. The detestable words leave a nasty taste in my mouth. As might have been expected from a world specimen, I'm now surrounded by displays of dead flowers, plants and insects. I've been trying to keep my gaze fixed firmly on my desk, but when Sister Basket is speaking, I'm compelled to look up at her. Speaking up my courage, I raise my head, only to find a dead scarab beetle staring reproachfully back at me. And that covers the basics of preparing specimens. Does anybody have any questions? I do! All this stuff seems pretty interesting, but I also see some pretty stones and fossils on the shelves. Do I also count as specimens? People who prepare specimens for museums are called preparators. Now, this is not a widely known profession, but a single preparator does not handle every type of specimen. Specimens are generally divided into 3 distinct categories. Those are biological specimens, geological specimens, and laboratory specimens. Fossils Mr. Saki mentioned would fall within the purview of a geological preparator. It's a rather long-winded explanation, but Ichigo nods enthusiastically. When I hear the word specimen, I'm sure insects are the first thing that comes to mind. However, there are many kinds of from flowers to minerals and books. Books can be considered specimens, huh? Because it takes all sorts. You seem interested all of a sudden. Pairing specimens allow you to pin down memories, so to speak. I hope these lessons allow you to appreciate your memories here at the Academy more deeply. My classmates looking interestingly around at the displays. Minerals and plants are well and good, but the majority of the display is taken up by... Shirahane. Yes? You seem pretty anxious, but don't worry, all the bugs here are dead. They won't bite. Of course. Erica, who knows how much I hate insects, offers some reassurance, but I don't dislike insects because of the harm it can do. It's their very existence. Now then, let us first observe this specimen I paired earlier. From under a desk, she brings out a small wooden box containing... butterfly. Hands the box to the nearest student and instructs them to pass it on to the next person after you had a look. Butterflies are the most problematic insect for me. Oh no, oh no. Watching my box gradually drawing closer, I feel a sweat erupt across my forehead. How awful, this isn't any tiny gust on my wing, but a huge swallowtail butterfly. It's so pretty. Huh? What's that? There's a slight smell, it's kind of familiar. That would be naphthalene, which is used because they're stored in a box to keep them out of direct sunlight. Prudence nods, staring intently at the specimen. It's so brave. Are you okay, Suoh? Why wouldn't I be? You're awfully pale. Are you not feeling well? No, I'm not. I'm aware that I'm sweating. I feel respect for that blue butterfly once it landed on my figure. I don't feel too well. I thought so. Would it be okay? Should I take you to a nurse? Her cold fingers drift across my moist forehead and I feel terrible. I've dirtied over my sweat. You're sweating. Pulls out a handkerchief and mops my brow. My skin feels cold in its wake. Thank you, Rika-san. Whisper my thanks in a tiny voice. Here you go, Shirahane. The girl in the seat in front of me turns nonchalantly and hands me the slim box. Reflexively, I take it from her and I freeze, staring down at the enormous blue butterfly. My gaze pinned at it to the same way the insect pinned to a card. Suoh-san? You really don't look well at all. I can hear someone speaking loudly beside me, but the sound scarcely reaches me. It annoys my ears right now as a thin metallic whine you hear when listening to absolute silence. No. I will show you a true form of that blue butterfly there on your finger. I can both hands to my ears. The box tumbles to a desk. It's glad to know my own, quite plummeting the room into an icy silence. Miss Shirahane? Seeing the impact of her fall has knocked the butterfly loose, I realise I've done something terrible. Regret washes over me. Are you right? Are you hurt? This is basket, the specimen. I accidentally dropped it, but don't worry, a specimen can be repinned. What's more important is whether or not you're alright. Concern shining in her eyes, she takes my hand to check for cuts. Guilt wells upon me, and a shudder runs down my spine at the lingering note of that woman's voice in my ears. I'm sorry. Lowering my head, I carefully make sure a butterfly rests outside my field of view. It feels as though that woman is lurking somewhere in the classroom, and I keep my head down and gaze fixed on my feet until the last echoes of her voice fade. As I lie in my bed in the nurse's office, I think back to a day I went to live with my grandfather. It was a winter's day, much like today, the snow falling thickly from the sky as those flakes set on a trajectory from heaven to earth. The only sound in the room was a whistling of a kettle set atop a kerosene stove. My grandfather, who had been a doctor before we retired, took my hand to his and said, "You can't run away from your emotional trauma." Even after my father divorced her, she was out of my life. I still feared my stepmother. But that day, my grandfather spoke to me like an equal. He told me that while I couldn't run from it or forget about it, he could teach me techniques I could use to banish the shadow of my stepmother from my mind. A mental wound is just like a physical one. It won't heal with simple platitudes of one-off emotional breakthrough. Like a flesh wound, mental trauma takes time to heal, but here it does. And I will be here to help you in that healing process. And I. Are you sure you're right? Yes, I am. I gave Riku, who's come to pick me up, a nod. You're still unsteady on your feet. Don't you think you should stay in my nurse office a bit longer? I'm fine. I slept through lunchtime. Sleeping any more will give me a headache. When I force a smile, Riku nods with assent, although she still looks concerned. When I close my eyes to sleep, that conversation with my grandfather comes back to me. Perhaps because of the time spent in my memories before drifting off after waking from my shallow slumber, my mind still feels hazy. Snow. Gazing out of the snow through a window, I think back to a day when I revealed my loathing of butterflies. Suoh-san, I really think you need to rest. Rika gently takes me by the arm. I'm about to repeat that I'm fine when someone calls her name from behind in a somewhat harried tone. What is it, Tsuwabuki-san? Our classmate Tsuwabuki-san at the other end of the corridor. He comes trotting up to us like a puppy and addresses Rika as Vice President. Sounds like you're here on council business. Well, she's cute. She's got a very different style of beauty to the rest of them. Yes, I wanted to talk about the greenhouse. She nods, giving me a quick bow. She was taking her role as General Clerk seriously. Back at the start of autumn, she had been involved in the shapeshifter incident, incited by romantic rivalries in her Amitié group. In overthinking things, a complicated matter, Yatsura-senpai resolved it. However, since she made a choice to keep the truth of the incident to herself, it never came to light. And then she... So, did you hear about Greenhouse from Sister Dahlia? No. I see. Well, since they use the guiding classes, we have to run it by Mr. Sister Dahlia first. Tsuwabuki-san regards Rika respectfully. She deliberates. Perhaps Rika has figured out Tsuwabuki must find it painful being around romantic partners after being rejected romantically. And maybe that's why she recommended her for the position of General Secretary. General Clerk, sorry. In any case, Tsuwabuki is only grateful to Rika as her right-hand woman. Rika is so considerate of others. I'll discuss it with Suoh-san. No, President Shirahane doesn't even trouble herself with this. You and I can handle it together. Oh. For some reason, Tsuwabuki fixes me with a half-pleading, half-reproving stare. Actually, I don't feel fully recovered just yet. Oh, then we should go back to the nurses. It's okay, I'll go back to the dormitory and rest there. I'm sorry, would you mind taking care of this without me? Well, I don't mind, but... You can leave it to us! Oh, hang on! Watching her take Rika by the hand and hurry off with her, put my hand softly to my chest, wondering how widely the wound I've been carried has been torn open. After confirming it's not as bad as when I went to live with grandfather, head back to the dorms returning students' greetings as I pass me by. Rather, I would wander off without any clear destination in mind. I wanted to spell when nausea was been gnawing at my stomach. As I'm slowly walking through the entrance under the watchful gaze of a Virgin Mary. Erika-san? I went across with Erika. That was close, I almost missed you. Can't have food going cold after you made it specially. To my curious look, Erika raises a paper bag sitting on her lap. We figured you'd end up skitching in lunch otherwise. Were you thinking of bringing it to me? I wasn't thinking of it, I was bringing it to you, or did the Prez already bring you something? Shaking my head, I tell her Rika's been taken away by Suki-san on council business. Oh. I guess the elder Sasaki sister wasn't completely making things up after all. So what did she say? But you shouldn't let your guard down just because you have the upper hand, Shirahane. I took my head unsure exactly what you're trying to say. Here, this is for you, it's a BLT. I reach out to take her preferred paper bag. Hold up! Once you give her the lunch I prepared, it's only my BLT sandwich. What were we? But Shirahane-san, you don't mind which one you'd eat, do you? Takasaki looks at me, eyebrows raised. You're not going to make me pick, are you? Okay, I can have neither or both. I'm hungry, I want both. Besides, I prefer to have a BL sandwich, not a BLT. Although BL sandwich sounds like something else. Completely related to this type of game. Literally, very much so. Then, maybe I'll help myself to both of them. Takasaki eyes widened, but Erika looks relieved for some reason. Didn't realise you had such a big appetite, Shirahane-san. Yes. Such a relief to hear that. Go ahead and eat as much as you like. Without actually passing me her own paper bag, nausea still pours and put in my stomach like an oil slick, but I don't want to make things awkward. Being pressured by the situation, I said I went and eat them both. Forcing a smile, I take the other paper bag, also containing a BLT. Hey, why don't you come relax in our room? We've got some real good coffee beans. I'm grateful for the invitation. I'm sorry, but there's something else I need to stop by. Hey, hang on, I thought you weren't feeling well. I have a meeting with Sister Basket about some council business. Truth is, I don't have a such appointment, but after my interaction with Rika earlier, it's the first thing that pops into my head. With Sister Basket? Don't. Don't what? Just don't. Erika has a hand on the rim of a wheel ready to move, but Amitié partner stops with a disapproving look. With a wave to the two of them, I set off towards a chapel. I also set off towards the end of the episode. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a wonderful day. Join me next time for more. Until then, bye-bye.